Imagine waking up tomorrow in a world where every problem has already been solved. There is unlimited food, unlimited water, a safe place to live, no predators, no competition for survival, no fear of starvation. It sounds like the perfect world. But what if that perfect world became the reason an entire society collapsed? More than 50 years ago, a scientist built exactly such a place. It wasn't for humans, it was for mice. What happened next became one of the most famous and most controversial experiments in modern science. Some people believe it predicted the future of humanity. Others say it has been completely misunderstood. This is the true story of Universe 25. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why people are still debating it decades later. The story begins in the 1960s with an American ethologist named John B. Calhoun. For years, Calhoun had been studying how animals behave as their populations grow. Most scientists were focused on one simple question: what happens when food runs out? But Calhoun wanted to answer a different question. What happens when food never runs out? Could a society still collapse, even if every physical need was met? To find out, he designed what many people now know as Universe 25. It wasn't just another laboratory cage, it was an entire miniature world. The enclosure was carefully built to support thousands of mice. Food dispensers never became empty. Fresh water was always available. The temperature stayed comfortable. There were nesting areas, no predators, no diseases, no harsh weather. For a mouse, this was paradise. In July of 1968, Calhoun introduced just 8 healthy mice into this new world. 4 males, 4 females. At first, everything went exactly as planned. The mice explored their surroundings. They built nests. Soon, they began reproducing. The population doubled rapidly. Every few months, there were more mice than before. Looking at the results, it seemed as though Calhoun had created the perfect society, with unlimited resources. Why wouldn't the population continue growing forever? But then, something strange happened. Long before the enclosure reached its maximum capacity, the behavior of the mice began to change. Some dominant males became unusually aggressive. They fought constantly. Others became withdrawn. Many stopped defending territory altogether. Young mice struggled to find stable social roles. Some wandered the enclosure alone. Others were repeatedly attacked for no obvious reason. Even mothers began behaving differently. Some abandoned their babies. Others became careless while raising them. Infant survival started to fall. Something was clearly going wrong. And yet, food was still everywhere. Water was still unlimited. Nothing had changed except the behavior of the animals themselves. As months passed, the colony became increasingly unstable. Then Calhoun noticed a group of mice unlike any he had seen before. These mice avoided conflict completely. They didn't fight. They rarely interacted with others. Most showed little interest in mating. Instead, they spent nearly all their time eating, sleeping, and grooming themselves. Because they never fought, their fur remained perfectly clean. Unlike the battle-scarred mice around them, they looked almost flawless. Calhoun called them the beautiful ones. Over the years, this became one of the most famous parts of the experiment. Photographs of these mice appeared in newspapers and scientific discussions around the world. People wondered, why would healthy animals stop reproducing when survival had become so easy? As time passed, birth rates continued falling. Fewer babies survived. Older mice died naturally. Very few young mice replaced them. Eventually, the population began shrinking. Not because they lacked food, not because of disease, not because of predators, but because normal social behavior had broken down. Years after the experiment began, Universe 25 became completely empty. Every single mouse was gone. The perfect world had failed. When news of the experiment spread, many people reached a dramatic conclusion. They claimed Calhoun had proven that comfort destroys civilization. Some even argued that the experiment predicted the future of humanity. But that's not what Calhoun actually said. This is where the internet often gets the story wrong. Calhoun never claimed that humans were destined to suffer the same fate as his mice. His experiment was never meant to predict the future. It was designed to study how overcrowding and social disruption could affect animal behavior under controlled conditions. Humans are very different from mice. We build cities, we create laws, we develop technology, we change our environments, we educate future generations, we cooperate with millions of strangers every single day. Human societies are far more complex than any laboratory enclosure. Because of that, most modern scientists agree that Universe 25 should not be treated as a direct model for human civilization, but that doesn't mean the experiment has nothing to teach us. Far from it. Even today, psychologists, sociologists, and urban planners continue discussing Calhoun's work, not because mice can predict our future, but because the experiment raises difficult questions. How important are meaningful relationships? What happens when people lose their sense of purpose? Can a society remain healthy if individuals become isolated from one another? These are questions science is still trying to answer. Perhaps that's why Universe 25 continues to fascinate millions of people decades later. It isn't really a story about mice. It's a story about society, about behavior, about connection, and about the invisible forces that shape every community. The experiment reminds us that survival alone may not be enough. Food can keep a body alive. Shelter can protect us from danger. But healthy societies also depend on purpose, responsibility, family, community, and human connection. Without those things, even a world that looks perfect on the outside may not be as perfect as it seems. So, did Universe 25 predict the collapse of humanity? No. The evidence simply doesn't support that conclusion. But it did reveal something deeply fascinating. Creating a successful society involves far more than meeting physical needs, because history has shown us something again and again. Civilizations are not built by food alone, they are built by the relationships that hold people together. And perhaps that is the real lesson hidden inside the walls of Universe 25.